You can get that. Hey guys, happy Tuesday again. It's Tuesday, November 27th. We have Move Spots. I'm here with my friend Haifa Baptiste. Did I say it right?
Yes, you
did. I did. All right. We're obviously in a different spot than we were for our earlier show. But if you can pop on, let us know you can hear us or see us. We are in the middle of the dining room. Hey, Carmen, in the middle of the dining room at the Citrus Club. Mr. Gilbert, how are you? We got some hearts. Let us know you can hear us or see us, which I think is what the hearts are about. This is such an important topic. Today's Giving Tuesday, hashtag Giving Tuesday, which we will talk about. And we're honored to have Haifa on here to talk about the Camaraderie Foundation, which is got near and dear to my, hi Carmen, near and dear to my heart. Anything to do with veterans, I think, is just such an important movement, an important cause. And so this is her first go-round on the TED Show, so welcome her. Say hi.
Hi
All right.
Everyone.
All right, so let's learn a little. Hey, Retta, thanks for coming on earlier. Let's learn a little bit about you today.
Well, I am originally from a little island called Haiti.
Oh, you're from Haiti, see?
I am.
This is why I don't do any research.
And I moved here when I was young, and I lived in Miami with my mother and my brother. So
how long have you been in the U.S.?
I have been since I was 5, and I'm about 27 now. So
oh
about
my God, you're a
22
baby.
years. Yeah, I was a baby.
Hey, Steve.
And so yeah, and I lived in Miami for most of my life with my mom and my brother, and I moved up here to Orlando to start school at UCF.
Go Knights! So I'm a Knight.
I've been here in Orlando since then, since that
And what
time.
was your major? Like, so people always want to know your why, because we're going to talk about Camaraderie Foundation, talk about Giving Tuesday. Did you major in nonprofits? Did you what were you doing at UCF?
So I think we have a similar background actually. I did initially get my bachelor's degree in health administration, and so I wanted to be sort of in the healthcare field because I'm very passionate about making health care accessible to people. But then I did a little bit of an internship at a nonprofit that was helping women and children in Bangladesh, and so I kind of fell in love with the nonprofit world there. So after that, I decided to get a master's degree in nonprofit management.
See, they didn't have that when I went to UCF back in the dinosaur age, but we at least had a focus. My master's is in healthcare administration, health services administration, and we got to work on the nonprofit world, which is a challenge. So what made you fall in love with that? Because obviously you don't get into nonprofits to make money. No. You have to have a passion. You have to love what you're doing. You have to really know that is not, you're not going to be a Rockefeller at the end of your life with nonprofit.
No, you're not. So for me, I think what really drew me to the nonprofit world is I've always wanted to do something that is impactful, that felt meaningful, where I feel like I could make a difference in somebody's life. And so I think that was really, really drew me into the nonprofit world, because I know, some jobs are just, you make the money and you go home and you do what you love. But for me, I feel like spending so much time somewhere, I want it to be something that I love and that I want it to make a difference in somebody's life.
I feel like your generation, because you're a millennial, right? And a lot of people don't like to say that word, but that's the way to describe your generation.
Sure.
I believe you guys really are looking for the ways to help people, how to make things different. You guys are really making a change in the way we think about things, especially in the nonprofit world. So tell me a little bit about how you came to, once you graduated, once you got your nonprofit degree, what did you do next?
I think while I was working on my degree, I did a lot of internships with different nonprofits just to kind of get a feel of what, the environment is like and what is the expectations and some of the challenges that nonprofits face. It was a lot of, and I think the program at UCF was really great, and that it gave me that exposure and all of the kind of real world experience that I need. So I didn't go in thinking one thing and then, being surprised. So I think for me, I just having the experience after I graduated, I worked out a little bit for a different nonprofit, which was more globally focused. Doing work in a lot of different countries around water and sanitation and that sort of thing. But then I kind of drew my focus to more local impact because, I live in this community and I care about it. So I wanted to do a little bit, more local work as well.
And so how did you stumble onto Camaraderie Foundation? Because that is, and talk a little bit, give them a little history, even though we had Anna and Neff from Camaraderie on a while back. Kind of educate the audience on what Camaraderie does and who it serves.
So the Camaraderie Foundation serves veterans, current service members, as well as their families. One of the main programs that we have is mental health counseling. So we work providing mental health counseling to these individuals, a lot of who are suffering from depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress being one of the
PTS
top things.
Is the new word, right? We don't say
we
PTSD
don't say disorder
anymore, which I love. All right.
So so that is kind of our focus, and that's like the sort of the meat of what we do. We get we have tons of clients, hundreds of clients that we work with every year. And
what services does Camaraderie provide? So if a veteran comes to you and says, I need help, what kind of services are available to them?
So primarily we have this huge network of counselors that we work with, over 250 all over the country. And so the main thing that we would do is we have an intake process where one of our case managers would talk to the individual, figure out what their needs are, and then try and place them with a counselor that is in their area so that they can get whatever sort of counseling that they need, because every individual is different and will have different needs. And so our goal also in that is to kind of track and make sure that individual is successful as possible with their counseling. So that means making sure that we get rid of whatever barriers, obviously financial, because we pay for the counseling, and any other things that may arise that may kind of make them stumble or not be able to continue on with the counseling.
What kind of barriers are they facing? So you all Camaraderie provides the counseling part. Do you provide, so when you've got them in, they're talking about, it could be a myriad of things, like any counseling, but I feel like veterans have, because of PTS and because of the service that they've done, they have a different kind of counseling that they need. Do you help them once you help them get through that, are there other services that you're tied to that help them get out, figure out what they want to do, get past some of the issues that they have? Maybe it's job, maybe it's marital. I mean, there's so many things that our veterans go through that I think a lot of us don't understand.
Absolutely. So we do have other initiatives that we kind of take on, one being the family fun days, which are just kind of events that serve a sort of a multitude of purposes, providing just a fun and a great day for them, for the military families to come together and enjoy each other's company, for the kids to come out and play, but also to help reduce that, that isolation that sometimes can happen when you are dealing with a mental health issue. It's hard to sometimes get with people because you feel like other people can't understand what you're going through. So getting them together and having them realize that, there are other people out here in this community that are experiencing some of the same things you are. And so it's, you're not alone. And a lot of times we would get individuals who seek counseling because of that experience that they've had.
Well, and I think what happens, I think people don't understand that there's, when you're in the military, transitioning out or transitioning or dealing with anything, first of all, there's this bond. I've had many vets on, and they talk about the bond, and they talk about how civilians who haven't been in the military don't understand. And so when Haifa's talking about isolation, it's an isolation that nobody can really reach. You can't figure it out because you weren't there, you weren't part of it. There's this life or death situation that most vets, most active military have faced in some way, shape, or form. And unless you've faced it, you can't speak the language with them, and they don't necessarily feel comfortable around somebody from the outside who hasn't. So you provide an environment for them to go in, to be around other people, other veterans, other active duty, other people who have experienced or something similar to what they've experienced.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so what happens, what is the greatest need? Because I think we talked about earlier, you have a waiting list.
Right.
So talk about the need there. You have, tell us about the waiting list. Tell us about what people can do to get involved with camaraderie.
Sure. So, within the last few months, and particularly around the holiday time, we get an influx of individuals who are in need of counseling, particularly because the holidays are such a stressful time for anyone, really.
Correct.
But especially for veterans and individuals who have either served or are serving in the military. And you think about all of the reasons why that could be. It could be finances. It could be just family, not being able to be around your family, or all the things that we, civilians struggle with, but it's sort of exacerbated in a sense when you are also a veteran or have served. So we as camaraderie, we're a relatively smaller organization than some of the bigger veteran organizations, but we do serve a lot of individuals. So within the last few months or so, we have gotten sort of an influx of individuals, which have caused us to kind of create this waiting list where right now we can only serve the most critical cases. So cases where people are, a threat to themselves or that sort of thing. So for the waiting list, the thing about the waiting is we don't want to let people wait too long, because those cases that are not yet critical can become critical.
They become that way
right
when they feel, again, they come to you, they've come to anyone for
right.
help. Remember, that first step is a big step.
Right.
It's a giant step to ask for help, and then to be told, all right, there's so many people that are in more critical. It's a very difficult thing I know you guys have to face on a
right.
daily basis. Additional funding or support would be helpful.
Absolutely. So that's the way that we're going to get those individuals off of the waiting list and not leave anyone behind in 2018.
And what do you say to people who, I get this a lot, once I've done a show on veterans, and it makes me crazy, so Haifa probably has to be a little more politically correct than I do. But I get people that say, well, why isn't the VA taking care of them? Why do they need additional services? Can't they just get everything for free at the VA?
So the issue is that pretty much everywhere resources are limited. So even with the VA, so there's only so many cases they can do, and it's just not going to be at this point it's not enough for all of the people who need help. Correct. So in Central Florida alone, there are about 76,000 post 9/11 veterans. So you can imagine you can imagine how many of those individuals are suffering from mental health or issue. So out of 76,000, there's maybe right now about 13,000 individuals that need help. So there's or not seeking help and need it. So you just have to think about it in terms of, everyone has a part that they can play in this process. And, the VA can't do it alone.
Correct.
And so other organizations like ours have to step in and take care of those individuals who are not being taken care of.
Agreed. And you have Neff, who is a veteran.
Yes.
Correct? We have the great thing about the organization, there's so many great things. It serves a need. It helps people who are in dire circumstances. If you're a veteran, you can pop up. I'd love to have a veteran who has benefited from camaraderie come on the show, because I think people would get that face, put an actual real person with it. Because a lot of people would say, okay, well, I get melancholy at the holidays. I have depression issues. Remember that normally you can go to your own doctor, you can figure it out. When you're a veteran, you've got a whole different set of things that you're dealing with that us who have not served
Right.
are dealing with. And so you have to be cognizant, I believe, of the fact that it is something that is outside of our normal understanding, somebody who has not served, and realize that there's a need that isn't being met and can't necessarily be met. Remember, a lot of them also have difficulty transitioning from military life into civilian life. And it is not an easy process. It never is. I haven't talked to a single veteran that said, a single person who said, oh my God, it was so easy going from 10 years, 15 years, 5 years in the military to working in the quote-unquote civilian real world. Nobody says that to me. It's a different approach in a different world.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Ted, because we do have a program that actually helps veterans with transitioning.
That's
so
awesome.
On top of the mental health and all the family events that we do also have a mentor leadership program that is designed to make it easier for them to transition into, civilian job.
Because let me tell you my experience on that, and hopefully you'll pipe in. What happens is hey Gus, hey Erica, what happens is they come in and they're used to a certain way of doing things. Remember, the military is set up completely differently.
Yeah.
You're also life and death a lot of times on a daily basis. You depend on people. So when you transition out into what I consider, quote unquote, the real world, the crazy world, there isn't any of that camaraderie, for lack of a better word. There isn't that support, that brotherhood, that sisterhood, as you would find there. There's also not the order to things.
The order and the structure,
The order and the structure are so important. When you're used to that, you're a veteran, you're 4 years in, it doesn't matter, 4 years, 30 years in, you've got this structure that's ingrained in your brain, and you're trying to figure out how to maneuver through a world where there is not that same type of protection, structure. I have your back. It's very cutthroat out here. And so it can be a difficult transition for them to figure out how to get through.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to share, did I cover everything?
Absolutely, yep.
All right, so we're going to share Haifa's contact information, how you can get involved, how you can support Camaraderie Foundation, how you can help our veterans, how you can help all of the people that have served our country, have sacrificed for us in a way that the government's not doing. They're inundated. Remember, they have all their own stuff. This is a way for you to get involved locally, to help our local veterans, to help them get through. And since today is Giving Tuesday, tell them a little bit about what Giving Tuesday means.
So Giving Tuesday is an international day of giving. It is the day that you can choose to support the causes and the charities that are dear to your heart. And it's a day that everybody can make a difference. It doesn't matter how big or little you donate. Every dollar will impact somebody's life. So that's why we encourage people to participate in Giving Tuesday. Even if all you can give is $5 or $10, it will make a difference because it all adds up, and it will, that's what's going to help, that veteran or whatever cause that that is dear to you that you want to support. So if you would like to support the Camaraderie Foundation, you can go to our website. It's camaraderiefoundation.org, all together. And I can be reached at my first initial, last name at camaraderiefoundation.org. If you have any questions about camaraderie, you want me to answer, if you're looking for ways to support us, there are many ways we can do that. We need volunteers a lot of the time. We need people to help with events. So if there's any way that you feel like you would like to give back to veterans, to Camaraderie Foundation, you can contact us.
And we're going to share all of Haifa's contact information. Any way that you can help would be awesome and welcomed. All right, so any parting words of wisdom for them, anything you want to share with them before we head out?
Well, I loved being on the show, and I thank you guys so much for watching, for giving me the opportunity to share something so dear to me and share all of the wonderful work that we're doing with veterans. I hope that you will join us. And, thank you so much for having me.
All right, so we'll share everything. Haifa will post it all, and then we will share it across our social media. We love you guys for tuning in. CamaraderieFoundation.org. CamaraderieFoundation.org. And H. Baptiste at CamaraderieFoundation.org. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Giving Tuesday. We're going to be doing this all month long. If you have a special nonprofit charity cause that you want to get in and on the TED Show and promote, even if it's for 5, 10, 15 minutes, we're going to open up our show to that until the end of the year, probably further, but you guys know this is a very important time. This is where a lot of the organizations really desperately get overwhelmed and need the support and help. We want to not have a waiting list at Camaraderie, so let us know if you need anything. Reach out to Haifa and go to CamaraderieFoundation.org. We love you guys. Mwah. See you soon.